Mr. Cowan.
Hey Dylan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How about you?
Good.
Cool.
Happy when all this election stuff is over.
Oh, me too.
I don't think
Man.
I don't think I could have watched TV without a DVR over the last 3 months.
Oh, same.
I
Yeah.
watch everything recorded, and at least I can fast forward through them.
Oh, exactly.
Wow,
Which is real nice. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
All
for
right,
sure.
let's have
Okay.
a look at these.
Okay.
It says solve the system by graphing. Did they mean in your calculator?
Yeah, I use my graphing calculator to do
Okay,
that.
and then you just drew a picture of it on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you by chance know how to, I don't know what it is with my calculator, but it's in press to test mode. Um,
Ooh.
like, yeah.
It's an
Uh,
Inspire or a TI-84?
Inspire, I think. Oh, oops.
It's
It's
in
an
a
Inspire.
press to test mode.
Yeah, like,
When
and I
you
took out
press
the
it,
Wi-Fi set that you plug into the uh, calculator, but it's still in it,
how
which
did
she
it
said
get
she
in that mode? Did the teacher put
we
everything
took.
in that mode to take a
Yeah,
test or something?
yeah, we had a quiz on
Yeah.
Friday, and he put it all in press the test mode.
So the question
Um,
is, how do you get it out of that mode? And I don't know.
yeah, exactly. I tried
I do not know.
everything.
I have
Yeah.
an Inspire. Uh,
hmm
Try going to Google and
Okay.
asking
Yeah.
them.
Because I've reset it, turn it on and off,
Ask
even
Google.
gone into
Just go into
settings.
Google and say, how do you get it out of press to test mode?
Okay.
And you'll
Yeah.
find an answer, I'll bet.
Yeah, I bet I would.
I don't know
Yeah.
how to do it because I've never put mine in test mode or I never have done that.
Right. Like I.
So I have an Inspire, but I don't know that process. But you're the
Yeah.
second person in 4 years that's asked it. I had
hmm
I had somebody 4 years ago that also asked me, and I didn't know how to do it then either.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah. I
All
was
right.
just like, wow, that's kind of weird, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So were you able to do these graphs even if it was in test mode?
I was able to.
Okay.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was
It
like,
just suppresses certain things, probably like factoring and stuff like that is my guess.
right. And I was trying to do the quadratic regression on my last page or on the first page, and I can't do it because it's disabled. So
Really?
I mean,
What?
hmm yeah. So I'm gonna have to talk to him tomorrow about it, try to get that figured out. But
Is there a quadratic regression required on some of this? I don't see any on this page.
not on this page. It was on my previous page
Okay.
that it requires you have to graph and do all that
You have to
stuff.
put in two lists and then
Yep, exactly.
request a quadratic regression.
Right, and when you go to request it, like the option doesn't pop up. So
Right. But
yeah.
essentially what we're talking about here is points that wouldn't so much fit a straight line, but
hmm
might fit a quadratic regression really nicely.
Yeah.
And that looks like what you're dealing with tonight is quadratics. So let's have a look here. Some of these.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
see the solutions. Where am I missing them?
Um.
What's that minus 10?
Oh, that's just the label of the graph, like
Oh,
the x and y.
okay. Solve by graphing. Well, the solution is going to be wherever they intersect.
Okay, so just
Okay?
find the
So you
intersection
need
point.
this point and you need this point.
Okay.
And then they said check your solutions. Well, so I kind of need those answers
Yeah.
before we can check. Um,
Okay.
let's see.
He didn't make like any of this clear because like in class today he said he ran out of time and couldn't explain some
Uh,
of the stuff that was on this page.
all
So
right.
like,
Well, let me do this.
yeah.
Let me bring up Wolfram Alpha.
Okay.
I will graph these two and we can look at it.
Okay.
Hold on. Now, Wolfram alpha is not your inspire, but it'll accomplish the same thing. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me get so I can read these. So I got y equals x plus 6, comma, I think is what I need. And then y equals 0.5 times x plus 6, parentheses squared.
Yeah.
Now let's have a look at what that looks like, and they'll probably give us the intersection points, is my guess.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Is that
There it is, solution.
nice?
Yeah, really. I mean, this is actually better than
Yeah.
a
Really.
Inspire or a TI-84. So this point right here is minus 6 comma 0.
Uh-huh.
And this
Yeah.
point up here is,
That'd be
well, it says x
6.
equal minus 4, y equal 2. Have a
Yeah.
look at the graph again.
Yeah.
No, you can see that according to the graph, and this also tells you what you put in, so I can check to make sure I put it in right. X plus 6 and 1/2 x plus 6 squared. Yeah. So this is the
Yeah.
correct graph, and on your calculator, you could go in and find what the coordinates are of that point.
Okay. Yeah, I could go do that like when
And
we're
Wolfram
done.
alpha, they give it to you
Yeah.
automatically. It's also, they give you the zeros of any function, which is kind of nice.
That is
I
nice.
don't know why the Inspire or the TI-84 doesn't do that also.
Yeah, me neither.
So now it says check your solution. So let's check the one solution, which is minus 6 and 0. Does that work in the first equation?
Um, it does, yeah.
How about the second equation?
Um, so, yeah, yep,
0 equals 0 in either one.
right,
Okay.
which is cool.
Uh, so number 2, oh man, I hate this. Boy, you change the window size and it totally takes away all your zoom that you.
That is weird, yeah.
So as all you did was write it.
Hmm.
Well, we could solve this graphically, but you
Yeah.
know what? That's not going to teach you anything, right? I mean,
Mm.
it's nice to
No.
see what it looks like one time, but after that, it doesn't teach you much. So
Right.
solve it algebraically.
Okay.
In other words, it's the intersection point. So it's wherever this y function equals this y function. So I can make that equal to this. So
Okay.
x plus 2 squared
Hmm.
minus 3 has to equal minus 3. In other words,
Okay.
one y equals the other y. Okay.
Okay.
Now solve this. What do you get?
Um, it's just x plus squared, or x plus 2 squared is equal to 0.
Now take square root of both sides.
And then you get x plus 2 is equal to 0. Then x is equal to plus or minus, yeah, just minus 2.
Okay. And what's y equal to?
Uh, positive 2.
Read the
No.
read the problem. What's y equal to?
Um, hold on. Minus 3.
There you go. That never changes.
Cool.
In other words, once y is equal to -3, notice the horizontal line. It's always, well, it's supposed to be -3.
Yeah.
You've drawn it above the x-axis. It needs to be below the x-axis. And
Oh, that's the no, I drew it below. Like if you
oh,
it's
this is the
darker
x-axis
one.
up here.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah,
got you.
I'm sorry. There's
I got you.
yeah.
Okay, now I get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
My bad. My bad.
No, it was my bad for misreading it, actually. You
Oh, you're
do it plenty accurate. And, of course, if I plug x equal -2 into the equation to check my solution, I get 0. I get -3 equals -3.
okay. Cool.
Let's see. Let's come back to 3 and 4 and make sure we get the others looked at, because
Okay.
all we're doing is repeating. In other words, the way we're going to do 3 and 4 is algebraic. It's,
Yeah.
learn a whole lot from me doing it on Wolfram Alpha and
Right.
calculator. Well, I don't know. Do you have your calculator in front of you?
Not in front of me. The battery was running pretty low on it, so I had to
Because
charge.
even in test mode, you should be able to do these, I would think.
Yeah. I would think so.
Look up the intersection point. You know how to find the intersection?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Got a menu, graph entry edit,
There you go.
yeah. So,
All right, let's have a look at 5 and 6.
cool.
Notice nonlinear means curved.
Yeah. Right.
Linear means there'll be straight lines. So
Yeah.
here we have two parabolas that intersect.
Yeah.
And solve using the graph. So what's the solution on 5? The x and y coordinate for the solution.
1, 2.
And 6?
There's no solution.
Okay, and now let's look at 7, where you're solving the system by substitution.
I'm
What's
like
the
really
first thing
confused on this.
What's the first thing I'm going to write on 7? By
Write out the
using
second equation.
substitution. Well, no, I mean, we don't even need to do that. What's
Okay,
true? If y equals this and y, the same y, equals this, well, what's the first thing I'm going to write?
Well,
Equate one y to the other in terms of x only.
there's an x squared.
That's okay. But
Okay.
what's important for you to understand is the y is the same y.
Okay.
In other words, if y is equal to a and y is equal to b, then a is equal to b, right? If I told you that, if I told you y is equal to a and y is also equal to b, then you could say a is equal to b. Well,
Yeah.
do here. So our
Yeah.
first step is x minus 4, the first y, is equal
Okay.
to the second y. And now
Okay.
just solve that. That's going to become a quadratic. So how do we solve that?
Okay, that makes sense.
Let's solve.
So we would, let's see.
How do you typically solve a quadratic?
Find square root, right?
No.
Well,
Take your
we could combine
normal
the,
everyday quadratic. How do you solve it?
we would add 4x, like to,
You put
Left
everything
side.
on one side and you leave 0 on the other.
yeah.
That's what you do.
Okay.
Okay? So what do we end up with? We got
So it'd be
x
5x
squared minus 5x plus 4.
Yep.
And I've got nothing left on that side, so that's equal to 0. And now the reason we do that is because we can factor this, And once you have two things multiplied together that are equal to 0, you can then set each one of them equal to 0 to solve it.
Okay.
Okay, so
Uh,
how is this factor?
so we do x plus 5 and then x minus 1.
Hold on. Let's do it step by step. Don't do it all at once.
Okay.
Not the way to do it.
Yeah.
You get it wrong. It's too easy to make a mistake.
Right.
Okay, if we do it by 3 different steps, the first one breaking up the x squared, the second step, what are both signs?
Okay. So the first side would be x plus and then minus.
No, the only way you can produce a plus 4 is if both signs are the same. They either have to both be minus or they have to both be plus. What are they here?
Well, so like with this, you're supposed to
What's the
find.
middle term?
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, I was looking at it backwards. I was looking at it as we needed to multiply it to get to minus 5 and then add to plus 4.
Okay,
So I was looking at it wrong.
but if you do it in 3 steps, you won't ever make that mistake.
Okay.
Okay? In other
Yeah.
words, and this applies to every student I have. The ones that want to do it in one step are the ones that make the mistakes. If you
Okay.
do it in step by step every single time, you will not make any mistakes. And that is, you split the x's up, step 1. You determine both signs. We know they have to be the same, and because the middle term is negative, they have to both be negative.
Okay. Yeah.
Then
So it'd be.
we're looking for factors of 4 that add to the number 5. That's the third.
Okay.
So what two factors of 4 add to 5?
Minus 4 and then minus 1.
Right. It's not 2 and 2. 2 and 2 add to 4, so it's got to be 4 and 1. Now we have a solution. What is it?
So x is equal to plus 4 or plus 1.
Yeah. All right. And that's the solution. That solves number 7.
Okay.
Now, number 8, and that is substitution, basically, was setting the right side equal to this right side. That was exactly substitution. Now, number 8's a little different because they don't have both in terms of y, but they do have y completely defined. So what's the next thing I should write?
Let's see.
In other words, here's what I have.
You could.
X
Yeah.
squared, let me write it so we get rid of everything else on there. Don't really want you looking at that. I think that's going to just confuse you.
Yeah, me too.
So just look at my page. I'm going to blow it up.
Yeah.
All this by substitution. What am I going to substitute where?
Well, you could put the bottom equation like in the same format as the top equation.
Okay, give it to me.
So it would be x plus y is equal to 5.
That's not going to help.
Is that?
No. In other words, when you're trying to solve by substitution, you want one of the equations to be fully solved. And this second equation is fully solved. It says y equals 5 minus x. If I make it read y plus x equal 5, I don't have anywhere to go from there. Okay, because elimination isn't going to work. And in order to use substitution, you have got to have one variable fully defined. Notice in equation 1, it's not fully, y isn't solved for and nor is x. But in equation 2, y is fully solved for. So let's substitute this wherever we see y in the first equation. Okay, so what does that give us?
So we could do, so it'd be x squared is equal to y squared minus, or
just plug it in as you see it. X squared plus what?
So it'd be x squared Well, we're looking at the, I'm just kind of confused. We're looking at the,
Here's equation 1,
yeah,
equation.
and then there's,
What we're going to do is take equation 2. It's telling you that y equals 5 minus x. We're going to
okay.
go to equation 1, and wherever we find y, we're going to substitute 5 minus x.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay,
That's
so
why
it'd
it's
be,
called solution by substitution.
okay, that makes more sense. So it'd be x squared, um, 5 minus x squared, or, yeah, plus, is equal to, 25.
Right. And now notice what we have. We have one equation with one unknown.
Yeah,
We're going to be able to solve that. Maybe difficult, but we're going to be able to solve it. We know it. So
okay.
let's do it.
Yeah.
Expand this.
Alright, so it'd be x squared, plus 5 minus x, and then,
Squared. When I say
yeah,
expand it, multiply. In other words, what that
yeah,
means is 5 minus x times 5 minus x. Multiply that.
right. Should we write it out like that, or just we could just put it
You
as
don't have
squared?
to. It depends. If you know how to square something, you know it's the first term squared minus
Uh-huh.
2 times the first term times the second term plus the second term squared. In other
Okay,
words, I don't actually have to FOIL it out like this. This is something you really should remember. You should memorize. It's
okay,
a minus b quantity squared. And that's always going to be equal to a squared minus 2ab plus b
hmm,
squared.
okay,
Okay, so if you're squaring 5 minus x, well, the first term is the 5 squared, that's 25, minus
uh-huh.
2 times a times b, so that'd be 10x
Yep, minus 10x, yeah.
plus x squared.
Okay,
So that's what that thing expands to. Now, I do suggest to every single one of my students that they memorize that
okay,
only because you have to do it so often.
uh-huh,
You know, there's nothing wrong with going back and foiling it. If you foiled that, F-O-I-L, you would get this answer.
yeah,
But by memorizing it, both the a minus b squared and the a plus b squared, you can save yourself like 20 seconds worth of work every single time you do it. And you're going to have to do it like 1,000 times. So
okay,
it's really useful to have those memorized.
okay,
Okay, so we need to substitute this for this. And
okay,
I don't need parentheses. I'm going to put them there just for clarification.
okay,
But notice why I do not need them.
right.
Why?
Um, because,
Because I'm
well,
adding.
because you're just adding it.
If that was a subtraction sign, I would need them.
Okay, yeah,
Because if it was a subtraction sign, I would have to apply that negative sign to every term. But
okay,
since it's an addition, I can just erase those and go from there. I don't need them. Now simplify the left side.
okay. So it would be, the x squares, wouldn't they just cancel out?
No, you
Or
got
no, it'd be
squared
x to the
plus
fourth.
another x squared. How many x squareds do you have?
Um, x to the fourth.
No, you're adding them, not multiplying them.
Oh, that's
You got one,
4x squared.
you got one apple and you got another apple. How many apples do you
Yes,
have?
it'd be 2x squared, right? Yeah.
And then I got a minus 10x.
Yeah,
And that 25 can cancel with that 25.
right.
So I don't have any other numbers, so I got 0 left over there.
Right, and then we would just factor that out, right?
Well, tell me how to solve that.
Well, we'd have to factor out or we'd find the greatest common factor,
Okay, what is it?
which is 2x.
Okay, what's
Yes,
left?
it'd be 2 x parentheses,
What goes in the parentheses?
x minus 5.
Good. And then
Cool.
always be checking. In other words, make
Yeah.
sure that 2x times x is 2x squared. Make sure that
Mm-hmm.
2x times minus 5 is minus 10x.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's equal to 0.
Mm-hmm.
And I can divide both sides by 2 to get rid of that.
Okay.
You might say, well, why don't you divide both sides by 2x? Well, x might be 0, and I can't
Yeah.
divide by 0. So you got to be
Okay.
a little careful about dividing by a variable.
Okay.
In equations even. Notice that
Okay.
had I divided both sides by 2x, I'd have been
Mm-hmm.
left with one solution. X minus 5 equals 0, x equals 5. But in reality, there's two solutions here. What are they?
X plus 5 and then x minus 5.
What are the solutions?
Oh.
X equals
So,
what?
so it'd be x equals plus 5, right?
That's one solution.
Yeah. And then, if we
It's all,
subtract 5, it'd be
no,
minus 10.
no. This is
Okay.
all based on the most fundamental principle of algebra,
Okay.
which is if you have two things multiplied together that equal 0, either one of them can be 0, or either one of them has to be 0.
Okay.
So I've got x multiplied by x minus 5 equals 0. So therefore, either the x minus 5 is equal to 0, which makes x equal 5,
Mm-hmm.
or the x is equal to 0. There's the other solution.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Okay?
right.
Always consider that, and that's the one everybody wants to forget. I don't know why it's so hard to pick that up, but I don't know. I guess it's because everybody expects a linear factor that has a number in it.
Yeah.
When there's a multiplier of x, people forget to count that as one of the solutions. Now, notice what would have happened had I divided both sides by 2x instead of 2.
Mm-hmm.
I would have only had this solution. I would have lost half of the solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't have showed up because it would have disappeared. And then I would have had x minus 5 equal to 0, and that's it. That only produces this solution. So that's why I say be careful about dividing by variables. If
Okay.
you ever divide by a variable and 0 is part of the solution set, you will lose it.
Okay.
It will disappear. And in this particular problem, 0 is definitely part of the solution set.
Mm-hmm.
An important part. Every bit as important as 5. It's not less important because it's 0. Okay?
Mm.
And I think
Okay.
that's one reason people miss it a lot, is they feel like because it's 0, it's not important. But
Right.
that's not true.
No.
Let me just have a look at the others. How are we going to do number 9 without doing it? How are we going to do it?
Same thing we did with number 7.
Okay.
We could do.
What are you going to do? What's the first thing you're going to write?
See, we could replace x squared like with 1 because x is
Okay.
equal to 1.
So you're going to have
So
1 squared plus y squared equals 1.
yeah.
Okay, the 1's cancel. Now you have y squared equals 0. Only solution for that is y equals 0.
Cool.
Okay, how are we going to do number 10?
And then for number 10, we would do, since y is equal to 7, we could replace the minus y with the minus 7.
Yeah, it's easier to see in number 10, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I wonder
Yeah.
why that is. Excuse me.
No, bless you. Bless you. Allergies or...
I was going to say I always sneeze in threes, but that was 4 of them.
Same. I had this one time where I sneezed 6 times. I was like, that was I was kind of impressed with myself, but
Yeah. So, and yeah, number 10, we're going to go to the second equation and replace y with 7. And
okay.
then we're going to have a quadratic.
Okay.
And in order to solve that quadratic, we need to get everything on one side and
Mm-hmm.
0 on the other side.
Cool. Okay.
Okay?
Sweet.
All right,
All right.
Dylan.
Awesome.
A good next couple days, and I'll talk to you Wednesday night.
That sounds good. All right. I'll see you then. All right. Bye-bye.